Today, we're going to be discussing my first time. To put it mildly, I've definitely come into my own now that I'm in my 40s. I was super into understanding female bodies, that it was about my own body and learning what I wanted. Because I just wanted to be informed. I'm always am about everything, but even sex. I remember reading my aunt's Cosmos about how to please your partner. It was pretty funny. Even as trashy as we might consider that kind of information to be, especially back then, I still learned something from it, right? There was still information that I gleaned from it in some way, shape, or form. So in that, I'm grateful. I never thought about it. I had a boyfriend when I was 6 and he was like 12 or something. And, we were like, French kissing when I was 6 years old. But that was only that boy and another boy in 3rd grade that I made out with. And other than that, I made out with a lot of chicks. My best friend, anybody who was in the neighborhood, we had a makeout session. And I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think it meant that I was gay. I'm not even sure I knew what gay was then. Then came my homophobia stage where somebody who I was hanging out with came out as gay and ended up getting beat up and I got scared. I grew up with one of my best friends who's like my sister, basically, from the time, we're a month apart in age. We've known each other. Our parents live down the street from each other, still close to this day. And she came out as gay. I freaked out a little bit because I was a homophobe. In high school, there was people who outright asked me if I was gay, and I would say, no, I have a boyfriend. I made up a boyfriend and he didn't live in the city conveniently, so, that was easy. These people thought I was sexually active with this guy. And I made this stuff up because I wanted to try to fit in. And I guess I was convincing enough about what I said from reading all those Cosmos. Honestly, in high school, I was so freaking busy. I can't even imagine. I had 2 really great friends that I went to high school with. We'll call them J and C. J and C and I were like the 3 musketeers. C was a couple years older than us, but Jay and I were the same age. We all played sports together. And even though C had left to go to college, just a little out of town, not too far, we were all still close and hung out. During the summertime, Jay would often have to go to another state to visit her family. I would go to California and visit some of my family there. And I took C with me for this trip, and this was my senior year, so I was getting ready to go to college. I remember while we were there, we were sleeping in the same bed, and we would kind of snuggle a little bit, but friends can snuggle. In our history together and in our high school, there was lots of discussions about other players on the basketball team, and those of us that talked about it were the other gay ones, trying to deflect. We all were gay, but we would talk about how the other people were gay and how we couldn't believe that. It was so shocking. My cousins had a friend who was gay, openly gay, when we were pretty young. Around my age, maybe around my cousin's age, which they were all just a couple of years older than me. And her girlfriend came over and we were all swimming in the pool together, and I kept clinging on to C, like clinging on to her and being like, please keep me away from those scary homos. And she did her best to make sure she was keeping me safe. As we got back to Arizona, we were hanging out with my friend, my sister friend. We call her D. So we're over at D's hanging out, having a good time. And it's just the 3 of us. So Jay is still gone at this point. We're all hanging out, having some liquor. I, to this day, cannot drink peach schnapps anymore. Oh, just the thought of it. I just want to Ralph right now. But, Boone's Farm vodka and peach schnapps is not a good combination, especially anybody who knows me knows I'm not a heavy drinker at all. In fact, I rarely drink, so I'm quite the lightweight. On top of it, we're watching Bound. Nice 1D on that one. We're watching Bound, and I'm like offended that we're watching this homo movie. And I have to like go pout in the other room, and I just want C to come check on me. Because that's what, you know, that's how we're trained to like be the damsel in distress. And then we went in the hot tub, and you know what that does when you're drinking alcohol. So, man, I remember I got real schnockered, and D ended up taking care of me that night because I was worshiping that porcelain god. Woo! The next day, I went and worked, and C and I hung out, I'm sure that night, if not before. And I started opening up to C a little bit, telling her things I'd never told anybody before. And we just kept getting closer, and one day I asked C if I could bite her. Not if I could kiss her, but if I could bite her. For some reason, my thought process had convinced me that if I just bite her, I'm not gay. But part of me just wanted to put my mouth on her body so badly. And then she said yes. When I asked her, I couldn't even believe I asked her. I was nervous. And then I was like leaning over her body, like trying to find a spot to bite. And I would just rest my teeth, like I would go to bite her, and I would just be like, couldn't do it. I couldn't do it because I was so nervous what that meant. But once I did, I chose her neck, like right here, you know? And I tried very carefully not to put my lips on her skin. So when I went to bite her, so my lips wouldn't touch. I later found out that from C that she came when I finally bit her, because she's like, it was so intense just waiting for it to happen that when it happened, my body just went whoo. I'm like, that's really cool. That happened for like, I want to say it was at least a couple of days where we were like kind of biting each other. In fact, we even went over to Dee's house again, and we were like all hanging out, and we were biting each other. And Dee's like, what's going on there? Oh, nothing. We're just playing around. And then we were at my house. I mean, she could sleep over. She was spending the night. And I had a king size, are you ready for this? Waterbed. Yes, I said water bed. Sticky mattress, kind of looks like an air mattress, but instead of air, you fill it with water. It was a really big thing back in the 70s and early 80s. So we were doing more of the biting thing, and we were in my room listening to some music and just like chatting and biting each other and giggling, and all of a sudden actually, I should describe C for you. Before I tell you what she did, let me describe her so you can imagine it better, because you see what I look like, except for, imagine back then, younger, obviously. C had brunette shoulder-length hair as well, especially when we first met, lots of ponytails. 6'1". She's also a Capricorn. Athletic build. Ended up shaving her head. This was around G.I. time. Like right when it came out. In fact, we went to go see it while her head was shaved. And the reason why she shaved her head is because she had joined the army. But anyway, where were we? So biting and whatnot, and then she decides she can't handle it anymore, and she rolls on top of me, like rolls, and just lays a kiss on me. And I kissed her back, and we just started making out. And I remember my body feeling like this rush and this adrenaline, and it felt so good. Like I'd never felt anything like that before. I'd kissed girls plenty of times at that point, but that was way different. Like way different. It was amazing. It was amazing. It felt right. It felt like I'd been waiting for that to happen. So she stops for a minute and she says, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm okay. Are you okay?" She was like, "Yeah, I'm okay." I end up taking over and I get on top of her and start kissing her, and I put my knee between her legs and I could feel her getting wet, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to fuck her. I don't know if I know what I'm doing, but that's what I want to do. And so I went back to that training in my head of what would Cosmo say to do first. When women are having sex, definitely one of the things they do is lick pussy. I took her pants off, and I believe I felt her pussy first with my fingers, and I didn't really know what I was doing then. I mean, I think I did all right. Like I got the anatomy, like I understood clitoris and whatnot, but compared to how I understand it now, I was a very big novice. We just kind of went with the flow. And yeah, I touched her first because I wanted to feel how her pussy felt. The only other pussy I'd ever felt at that point was mine. So you put your hand down there the first time in somebody's pants or panties or whatever it happens to be, and you put your fingers, like you slide them down and then you place them. And when you place them, you feel that soft and wet, like, so good. The first time I felt that, I was like, oh yeah, yep, that's exactly. And so I went down on her and I fucked her while I was licking her. And then she did the same to me. And that was it. Like we, kind of each, I don't know. I don't remember if I came or not. I feel like I did. Which is pretty impressive. I think that both of us came the first time we had sex, which, sure, lesbians, right? But so after that, I mean, we opened up to do a lot of different things. Like my parents had this other place and we got to go there by ourselves, and they had like this big tub and wax play. We played sex games, this game called Five Dimes, where you hold a dime between each of your fingers and then they stand with their legs spread apart and you get to do whatever you want to them. And if they drop any of the dimes, you stop. That was a fun one. And then we had a lot of sex after that. Like it was pretty much nonstop because that's what you do when you first start having sex. And honestly, all of those people that I mentioned here, we were all on that scale of queer. And I think discovery and opportunity swayed some of us to go faster than others, but yeah, we're here now, That's my first time. I hope I didn't bore the hell out of you about it. It was super hot. I am going to do my coming out story next, so stay tuned for that. In fact, I'll even link it in the bio below. See y'all next time. Cheers. There's a lot of hanky-panky going on. What I mean by that is I wasn't necessarily participating in the hanky-panky. I was sure talking about it, but I wasn't participating. Let me tell you something. A warning, if you are ever having sex on a waterbed, watch your ass. Because you can bottom out on it. Like when you're pumping, you can hit your ass on the bottom. Not that anybody needs to worry about that anymore, but just in case, a little handy tip there. I don't even know where the hell I was right there because the cat drove me crazy just then. It's coming.